I'm Gretchen Carlson. I'm the host of The Real Story on Fox News Channel at 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. But I am also a Lyme disease survivor. And my story is similar to a lot of the others that you are going to hear tonight on stage and in the videos. If we can have everyone's attention, we are going to start the program right now. Thank you so much. So why are we here tonight? We're here to find a better diagnostic test for Lyme disease. For those of us who have suffered through this horrible experience, myself included, we want to be able to not only find a cure, but to find a test that works. My story, that deserves applause for everyone who's suffered through this horrible experience. My story is a lot like a lot of other people who are at this dinner tonight and countless others. The summer of 2013, I had just returned home with my family from a trip to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands, which was this amazing adventure. But I didn't know the adventure was just starting with regard to Lyme disease. July 3rd, right before all the July 4th festivities, I noticed when I came out of the shower before we were going to a party, and I said to my husband, "What is this right here on my forearm?" And it was a bullseye rash. And I knew enough about Lyme disease to know that that was probably indicative of the fact that I may have this. So we went to this party and celebration. I showed a lot of people. Luckily, I took pictures. And a lot of my friends who had gone through this experience before said, "You have Lyme disease." Well, believe it or not, I could find a physician who was in the office on July 4th. And when I went to see him, what happened to me is what happens to so many other people. In a way, I was relieved because he said, "Oh, you just got back from Ecuador. I think you have ringworm." Well, let me tell you something. I wish I would have had ringworm. Because had I been diagnosed on that day and been given antibiotics right away, I would not have actually become ill like I eventually did 6 weeks later. I believed his diagnosis, and I went on with my life. At the time, I was hosting the morning show at Fox called Fox and Friends, and I'd been doing that for 8 years, and that's a brutal schedule where I would get up at 3:30 in the morning and not have a lot of sleep. So I was always tired. So when I got sick in August of that year, I just thought I was extra tired from the schedule and raising 2 kids. But then it started to affect me in the sense that I couldn't even pick my head up from my bed. And then, while I was live on national television, words did not come to me, especially in the first hour at 6 a.m. in the morning. And finally, one of the doctors that we frequently had on the air at Fox, he looked at me in the commercial break and he said, "You know, Gretchen, you just really don't look like yourself." And I said, "I don't feel like myself. I'm so exhausted. And my body aches." And before I even said the next sentence, he looked at me and he said, "You have Lyme disease." And then I told him I had had the rash, and he sent me to doctors that he recommended that day. But here's the problem. I have never officially been diagnosed with Lyme disease because the blood tests were all inconclusive. And this is the problem that we have with this disease. We don't have a great test, and we certainly don't have a cure. So why am I here tonight again this year? Because I don't want my kids to get this disease. I worry every day that they are going to become the next victims, and it's going to also go undiagnosed. And that's why I want to support tonight, and I hope you will join me in that effort.